Troll Talk, brought to you by RockstarMind.com, because what really makes a rock star is what's in between the ears. All right, let's get started with this week's episode of Troll Talk Weekly, where we stand united to celebrate the internet's finest trolls. And I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. I was supposed to shoot this yesterday, but there are a few things that I need to take care of for the missus, and so we're getting this going today. All right, so hey Eddie. All right, so today basically we are going to be talking about what we always talk about, which is the internet's finest trolls. And let me first start by saying that, so in my line of work, I encounter a lot of different people, and for some reason, when it comes to guitar, there's a lot of controversy. There are a lot of people who fought the good fight, who they struggled for years and hours and days and basically their whole life playing guitar and practicing and striving for something that, I don't know, I guess they think everybody wants. But I come across these Richard Craniums almost every single day. And what's funny is that originally, maybe for 5 minutes, it hurt my feelings like 4 or 5 years ago when I first encountered it. But now it's happened so much that it's become so funny. And now, because I have this show, I get to feature it. So a little bit of a spoiler alert. Whenever I see a little troll, before what would have happened was I would just kill with kindness because it was funny to me. Then it evolved into killing with kindness because I would post a comment and I tell like maybe some people in my inner circle. But now we get to feature it and have a great time doing it. So I will try to kind of push. I'm getting really good at extracting the good stuff out of these Richard Craniums. But today, actually, we're not going to be talking about Richard Cranium. We're going to be talking about Richard Cranium's friend. And we'll get to that in just a second here. But before we do, I want to show you what's causing such a commotion. All right, I want to show you the controversial post that is causing such a commotion. All right, and why the episode is called When Less Means No. All right, so here is the post. So this is my advertisement for my book, because I like to buy food for my daughter, and when I sell the book and then some programs that go along with it to help you to get a better result, then that puts food in my daughter's mouth. So when I do this, I want to help people. And on social media, you have to get people's attention. So sometimes saying things that you're making a big promise, or if you're a bad person, then you're going to be making false claims. But I'm not a bad person, and I'm not making false claims. And so I have this advertisement that reads, if you're a self-taught guitarist wanting to play more songs without spending all your time practicing, this may be the most important book you ever read. It might not be, but it might be. And for a lot of people who literally message me and tell me that this is the most important book they've ever read, that's the most important book they've ever read. So let's get to, well, actually, let me finish first. Then inside the URL, it's go.playmoresongs.com. If you just go to playmoresongs.com, then you can pick up a copy of the book. It's a really great book. I mean, it's a really easy read. It feels like we're chatting the whole time. And it's a really great book if you want to play more songs with less practice time. But check this out. So the book's called Practice Less, Play More. Practice Less, Play More. And it's a simple 3-step system. Play songs you love on guitar from day one. And so this post here has generated a lot of controversy. Some people love it. They're like, I can't wait to buy this. I can't wait to buy this book. And I'm like, yes, I can't wait for you to buy this book and start absorbing the strategies, because I still use these strategies to this day. These strategies are things that I've developed over the past 20 plus years, and 17 years of coaching to help myself and help other guitar players to be happier. Who cares about if you play songs? I mean, you will, a lot of songs, but to be happier, because guitar is just a vehicle for happiness. So Anyway, that's the premise, right? Every once in a while, I'll get someone who doesn't agree with that notion, and these guitar extremists, these fundamentalists, these people who are just so precious about something that's so ridiculous. It's it's just amazing to me that that even is possible for something. It's like me complaining about, I don't know, something like crackers, or like you didn't cut the sandwich the right way. Like, who cares? These things aren't important. Just eat the damn food. Like, you're hungry, eat the food. It's like complaining about something that doesn't necessarily need complaints. So anyway, so let's talk about this, because this is hilarious. Now, I want to introduce a new character here, because there's Richard Cranium, who we saw last week and in the previous episode, and I'm always expecting a Richard Cranium, but there are different facets of troll, and sometimes they don't even know they're being a troll, and sometimes they don't even know they're doing harm, and that's the focus of today's episode. Today's episode is about one named Michael Meanswell, and Michael Meanswell is a dangerous character because Michael Meanswell means well, but really, it's not good advice, and it's just the advice of one of his own experience, his or her own experience. So, from my perspective, because you might be saying, "Well, Steve, but you have an opinion," and yeah, I mean, I do have an opinion, but I also consider other people's opinions, and I also think outside the box, so I could see your argument. But then I also could see my argument, and then I could see other arguments as well, and that's what makes for a good debate, right? So let's get to the good stuff, because you've probably been waiting for the comments. And so let's see what we got here. And by the way, let me know if you could see and hear me clearly here. I just want to make sure that I am not talking to myself, even though this will be recorded and you can watch this as many times as you want. So here we are. And let me see here. Let me move my... That should be good. There. So Michael Meanswell is... And let me get rid of this here. Michael Meanswell is a good person. It's not, Michael Meanswell is not Richard Cranium. Okay, Richard Cranium is a Richard Cranium, basically. Michael Meanswell really does mean well. So, to the ad that I just showed you, this was Michael's response. I'm self-taught, but I still had to practice to get where I am. Learning basic theory and basic scales will also help you become a better player and open up more possibilities in your music. Now, I just want to preface this by saying this is true. Learning basic theory and basic scales will also help you become a better player and open up more possibilities in your music. I can't agree more with that. I'm self-taught, but I had to practice to get where I am. Now, remember what this is in response to. Okay? This isn't in response to me saying, hey, tell me about your experience on guitar. Or, hey, do you think that practice is important? Or do you think that, I don't know, not practicing is important? I don't know. Like, it's like if I asked a question, this would be the response. I'm self-taught, but I still had to practice to get where I am. So, like, maybe I would say, like, have you ever taken guitar lessons? No, I'm self-taught, but I still had to practice to get where I am. Or did you, I don't know, were you out of the womb? Were you able to play guitar? When did you have a coach? No, I'm self-taught, but I still had to practice to get where I am. I couldn't just play instantly. I couldn't just pick up a guitar and then just instantly start playing songs. That would make more sense with this kind of comment, right? So, but I still don't know for sure. When Michael said hi here, I didn't know for sure if it was Richard Cranium back in action. So I always play, I'm just polite, and I just want to make sure that I know for sure who I'm dealing with. So here's what I said. I said, great that you're experiencing success on your guitar. Oh, Michael, every guitar player has to practice. Some just practice things that are ineffective, unmusical, and worst of all, unenjoyable. Most people are inspired to play because of a song or a band that they've heard and they want to emulate. If you're learning to play and your song list is empty, okay, if you're learning how to play guitar and your song list is empty, then playing your favorite songs must be the main focus, as they're the most enjoyable. I just want to stop for a second and say that if you have an empty song list, then you need to be playing songs. Don't worry about even basic theory. Don't worry about even scales, because that's not going to do anything for you. Nobody cares when they come over for a party that the person who's playing guitar knows how to play an A major scale. They don't care. I know how to play an A major scale, and I've used that for certain things that I've needed to do, whether it was coming up with a solo, improvising, sometimes learning a song, lifting a song by ear, sometimes. But if you don't have any songs that you can play, then you don't need to be bothering with that. So back to this. Playing your favorite songs must be the main focus, as they are most enjoyable. So that helps with picking up the guitar and having fun and enjoying yourself. They contain helpful musical data and coordinations, because that's more like what actual music will be like. So it's better to program that into your fingers rather than a major scale, which really doesn't sound like music. And those coordinations, yeah, very important to have those muscular coordinations. And they'll help you spot similar patterns in other songs that'll help you learn those even faster. So for example, I learned G, C, and D, and all of a sudden I could play Time of Your Life by Green Day. I could play Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. I can play Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. I spot patterns based on learning real songs. Oh, that's the C chord from that song. Oh, that's the C chord, or that's the G chord from that song. Okay? And then what I like to do with these guys is I like to just kind of ask a question, just to kind of as a barometer, as a gauge. Know what I mean? Like, I'll say something of my point of view, and I'll say, you know what I mean? And the best case scenario here is that this is a troll turnaround. So basically, they'll say like, yeah, totally, man. Awesome. Good luck. That just doesn't really happen often. So that's why we're here. And so basically what happened, Michael says, and that, my friend, is called practice. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole spelling thing with the S or the C, because that technically, I don't know, that's a bit of a gray area depending on where you're from. Also, I mean, practice, yeah, I'm not going to get into the spelling there, because that's not what this is about. This is just about, he means well, for sure. I don't want to cut this guy down. He means well, but this is important because to you, because this guy's never going to buy my book, okay? This guy's not going to buy my book. He's not going to be in my world here, but you're in my world. You probably bought my book. So you are very important to me. So I want to make sure that you see what not to do in order to know what to do. So, and that, my friend, is called practice. I don't know why people on social media get up on a high horse and like think that they're really proving a point about like being all high and mighty, that, oh, and that, my friend, is called practice. Like, what, I don't know, like, okay, cool. So do you want my business? Do you want me to sign this over to you and then you're going to feed my daughter? Or do you want me to quit? I don't understand what the point of this is. So anyway, so I'm like, Mike, did I give you the impression that the process that I mentioned doesn't require any practice? And this is where, my friends, where we get into when less means no. The book is called Practice Less, Play More. What do you think that means? Does that mean, hey, don't practice at all and all of a sudden you can play guitar? No, not at all. Practice less, play more. Okay, and I probably explain more inside these comments that are coming up because he keeps going. Practice less, play more. Did I give you the impression that the process I mentioned doesn't require any practice? Less. Not practice zero, no practice, all playing. The book's not called No Practice, All Playing. Practice less, play more. Mike, did I give you the impression that the process I mentioned doesn't require any practice? And this, when I engage, when I ask questions, remember, I'm always professional, polite, maybe sometimes passive aggressive, just because it's kind of funny. Because again, I know this guy's not going to buy my book. I know that it's not like I'm of no value to him. So I want to make sure that this conversation is of value to you. So when I engage like this, I'm asking questions. And I'm seeing if I can find some common ground, if there's any sense there. But usually what happens is they go even further with their point. So let's see what happens. All right. But I thought, okay, and usually I hate that there's typos. But this is just a very common trait of Michael's and Richard's. But I thought this was all about not having to spend a lot of time practicing. Make up your mind, mate. LOL. Now there's an LOL in there. So he's chirping a little bit in a fun way. Like, look, this guy, he means well. Remember, this is different. This is not Richard Cranium. Richard Cranium is crass and illogical and just rude, just insulting, very hard-headed. Michael means well. So he'll play along a little bit. It's just not necessarily getting like, we're not getting to the right place here. We're finding common ground. But I thought this was all about not having to spend a lot of time practicing. Make up your mind. I'm not saying no time practicing or any time. Like, did I give you the impression this process I mentioned doesn't require any is the operative word, any practice. Any practice. I'm not arguing, like, you have to practice to learn songs, play songs on guitar. You have to practice to become a good guitar player. It's a level to which how much you practice and how much payoff you're getting, how much return on your investment you're getting of time, money, and energy. But I never said don't practice at all. Nothing. You guys will never, ever hear me say you don't have to practice at all. And so it's like, I don't even know what kind of point is trying to be made over here. So anyway, but I thought this was all about not having to practice. Okay, so here, let's keep going. Mike, practicing less doesn't mean don't practice at all. It's about practicing more efficiently with playing songs being top of mind. Too many players practice unmusical things like scales and exercises for hours and do themselves a huge disservice because often there are no songs on their song list. Scales aren't music. So do you see, one thing I want you to recognize here, my friends, is how consistent my message is. Okay? Whether you read my book, whether you watch my podcast, or anything, any video or course that you bought, or anything, any conversation we have, my message is consistent. It's always logical. It's always strategic. Music is the focus because it's a musical instrument. Okay? Scales aren't music. They're ingredients. So I know what I'm going to say. I always know what I'm going to say. I'm going to write back. And look, I do this stuff for you. Okay? I write this out for you. When you see my ad and you see my response to someone like this, I'm not responding to him. I'm building on the value of the product and the service and the benefit that you get. So you can read this if you so choose to do so. Okay. So now, let's see what Michael says. Michael means well. Yet, like, not even like, Steve, I see where you're coming from. Just always just on either the defense or the offense. Okay. So, yet, if you know scales and modes, you can better understand the music you're playing. Okay, yes. But when, someone picks up a guitar for the first time, when they retire, and they want to get some good return on investment and have fun, I'm not going to show them scales and modes because there's no point. And if you do that on day one, someone's giving you the wrong information. There's no reason for that. You're not excited by scales and modes. Learning for the sake of learning it's not a good enough reason. If it is, it's just an excuse. Like, is anyone who can play songs, that's what's impressive, okay? And scales and modes will help for sure, but later down the road. Maybe that's 2 months down the road for you. Maybe that's 2 years down the road for you. Who cares? Can you play songs? Hey, Michael, can you play any songs for me? So anyway, pretty sure most players would also like to be able to improvise, and knowing scale, I'm pretty sure most players, maybe, how many players do you know? I know a lot. I've taught a lot. I've worked and collaborated with a lot. And a lot don't want us to improvise. A lot don't want to write. A lot just want to play songs. Pretty sure most players would also like to be able to improvise, and knowing scales and modes certainly helps achieve that. Remember, he means well. So you can't blame him. He means well, but his vision is so focused on his own experience and speculation rather than reality. Okay, so it's not accurate thinking here. So pretty sure most players would also like to be able to improvise, and knowing scales and modes certainly helps achieve that, as does knowing how to recognize what key a song or backing track is in. No, bud. You can just look that up online. Okay? You don't need to train to know what key a song is in or a backing track. You can just look that up online or ask an expert. Okay? Yeah, sure, that's a skill that you could want. I want to be able to do everything. I still can't do everything on guitar. But I could play a lot of songs, and I've achieved a lot with my guitar, and I'm happy about it. I'm proud of it. And I'm also proud that when my students, when my members, when my clients, when my friends, my family, anybody who I've shown how to play a song can play a song and they're happy, that smile on their face is way more important than any of the notes that happen on the guitar. So creating happiness for people is what my main priority is. All right, so scales and modes are a very important part of the learning process, as is basic theory, at the very least. Can you play me a song, bud? Every time you learn a song, every time you play to a backing track, etc., it's all practice. All right. Whatever, the C, the S, it's okay. Well, that's fine. So, yeah, I mean, the points he's making, he means well. He's not making a point though it's not, maybe I didn't show up to the right conversation. Sorry, this is an ad that I'm paying money for to be shown to help people, and I just didn't know that he wanted to. I didn't know that he wanted to have a conversation about theory. I'm showing up to his conversation over here. I just didn't know that he knows what's important here, and I don't have any result. I mean, show me your list of happy customers and success stories and how many songs you can play, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'll turn off the ad, but then the conversation will go away. So then, it's just, anyway, let's keep going with this. So, point is, you need to practice to improve your playing, and once you've mastered what you've been wanting to achieve, you practice some more to learn something else. It's pretty much how everything in life is done, not just in learning guitar. He could have written the back of my book. Did you read my book, bud? Did you read my book? I think if you read my book, specifically chapter 7, chapter 9, chapter 10, I think you'd have a different tune to play here. None of these guys read the book, or watch any of my videos, but they have this they're fundamentalists. There's I did this one thing on guitar and everybody should do this one thing. And no matter what happens, I'm going to preach that on everybody's post. I didn't read it. I didn't read the post. I didn't look at the video. Or did you look at the sales page? No. I didn't look at the sales page. No, don't time to look at the sales page. I'm practicing here, man. I'm practicing. I'm working on my improvisation here. So I'm going to just comment on your stuff, but then I'm just going to go back to my practicing here. And it's just ridiculous. Anyway, but he means well. He does. I don't want to discredit what he's saying, where he's saying it, and it's in the context he's saying it. It's just that's the part that's ridiculous, but he does mean well. A lot of these principles are true. It does take practice. I just show you how to practice more efficiently and strategically so that you can get more out of the instrument and just be happier. So anyway, all right, Mike, I don't disagree. What's missing, though, is there are more efficient ways to develop your skills as a musician, and the hundreds of students that I've had over the past 17 years prove to me that learning 10 to 20 songs first, I'm talking having fun and playing effortlessly, was what got them hooked on guitar. And that is such an important point. If you try playing guitar and you buy an expensive guitar, let's say because you want to trick yourself, you want to guilt yourself into playing, if you take that guitar and you either enroll in a complicated course on theory or what you think you should be doing, or maybe you meet a teacher who wants to teach you theory right away, or I don't know, you're doing what you think, what you've heard from other guitar players, they're doing it now, but they give you advice that that's what you should be doing. Now, you just picked up a guitar. I'm just going to predict that from what I've seen, over 75% of people are going to fail, because there's only a certain amount of excitement that you have. And if you don't feed that excitement with any songs, then you're not going to be able to, you're not going to get hooked. Whereas when you get even just a taste of music, playing some music, playing a song, playing along with a record, playing for someone, then you get hooked. Then you're like, oh, wow, this is good. I got some payoff. People need payoff. Now, what I'm going to do here, just because it's very important to me that you get this, the value from all of this. Let me just do this really quick. Let me do one quick thing. Where are the scenes? Scenes, no, that's not scenes. Let me just do something really quick here. And where are we? Play more songs. Okay. I am just gonna do this one quick thing here. Yeah, just because if you do want to check out my book, it's either $5 for the digital copy, $15 for the paperback, or you can just get both for $15. It's up to you what you want to grab. But go to playmoresongs.com to grab that. So let's see how this plays out. All right. So you got to get hooked on guitar. You have to get hooked on guitar first. That's like really the first thing, because it's got to be important to you. You got to like have a reason to pick it up. And having good feelings and having fun and building confidence are great reasons to pick that up, so you can perpetuate that feeling. All right. This, so basically, past 17 years prove that learning 10 to 20 songs first, I'm talking about having fun and playing effortlessly, was what got them hooked on guitar. This is regardless of people who just started out. Just starting out there, a little typo of my own, or seasoned guitarists who were stuck in a rut. Sometimes I guess I get so passionate and then I misspelled that. Scales and musical literacy can come later if they choose to do so, because not everybody does. There are famous players who don't know any theory, and they don't care. There's no point. They're successful. They can communicate however they want to communicate. They don't know what the chords necessarily, how they relate, or what all the 12 keys of music. They don't care. Don't make what's important to you the sort of blanket for everyone and think that your experience is what everybody else has. Okay. Scale, or just do that, or be super annoying. Scales and musical literacy can come later if they choose to do so. However, my philosophy is there's no use developing scales and theory if you can't play any songs. Remember, it's a musical instrument. First chapter of my book is the guitar is meant to play music. And a close second, you can't develop anything if you don't pick up your guitar. So basically, if you get bogged down and, let's say, overwhelmed and you don't play any guitar anymore, then how are you going to develop your guitar playing? If you're not excited about playing guitar because you can't play any songs, and it's always the same boring old scales where you can play the shitty old pentatonic scale over the shitty old backing track, the same thing that you've been doing for the past 5 years, and it doesn't sound any better than it did, and you just plateaued, then you're probably not going to be motivated to play more guitar because you can't do anything. Do you see where, did you catch my drift? This is why this stuff, it entertains me, because I know that my message is more powerful, and I want to share that with you. And obviously, if you choose not to be here, then, you could just unfollow and that's all good. But if you want to play more songs with less practice and do it more efficiently, then you might want to check out my stuff. Check out playmoresongs.com, because this guy's ridiculous. So, and a close second, you can't develop anything if you don't pick up your guitar. So my songs first approach unlocks all of that for them. You know what I mean? I want to see just one more. Just please, just at least say, yeah. Just, yes, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. You make a good point. However, I've seen that in my experience, you see how when you explain things like that, you come across in a conversation or a debate more respectful and also more credible. I know what you're talking about. I hear you. However, in my personal experience and in my experience of my 20,000+ students, I've noticed that this happens or that happens or that happens. Or, in the studio, I've seen this, but when I've been on tour with this band and that band and that band, I've noticed that you don't really need this or this or this. That's, even though I'm talking about things that are important, I'm saying that I'm taking ownership of it. This is my experience. There's no preface of that inside this conversation coming from Michael. So Michael, okay, yes, I agree. So here we are. Now finally there's a bit of an olive branch here. Okay. Yes, I agree. There are more efficient ways to learn, but that just negates whatever came before. But I disagree with the practicing less. What the fuck, man? Are you serious? The practicing less. I didn't even state how much you practice. You didn't check out my book, man. What the fuck? You didn't check out my book, Practice Less, Play More. You didn't even check out my book. You don't know what I mean by less. You don't even know how much time I'm talking about. Oh, man. This guy's ridiculous. I love it. Oh, my God. It's so funny to me. That's so funny to me. I disagree with the practicing less. What the and by the way, I'm not even talking about an absolute thing. Practice for 5 minutes. Play forever. Practice every single day for 20 minutes in the morning and then play classic rock song. Like, I'm not being specific. It's a relative statement, bud. You practice less. Out of the equation, out of the pie, you want to make sure that 20% of your time is spent practicing and 80% is spent playing, because this is a musical instrument. You're not a guitar practicer. You're a guitar player. Play music. I want people to get a better ROI, better return on their investment of time, money, and energy. I never said how much practice time, just it should be less than, I want you to play songs, and in the amount of time you have, out of all of that, you should be practicing less. Or even if you're practicing a lot right now, like let's just say you're practicing for 1 hour to get a certain result, wouldn't you want to practice a little bit less on that thing to get a better result? So even it's relative within what you're doing. If you practice an hour right now, practice less, because you are working too hard and you're going to be happier when you get a better result. But Steve, I want to practice for an hour. Cool. So practice this part for half an hour and get the result done. And then practice for another 30 minutes on something else. Whoa, now you got 2 for the price of 1. Fuck, man. Anyway, but I disagree with the practicing less and not at least learning basic theory. Who cares? Who cares? Sorry, I'm getting a little bit fired up. I do have some filming and stuff that I need to do, so I'm just kind of getting worked up over here. But this stuff, I'm obviously passionate about it. Such ridiculous thinking. This is destructive thinking. Not at least learning basic theory. Who cares, dude? Who cares? What are you, the theory police? I know you mean well, bud. I know you do. I know you mean well. This isn't good advice. To understand at least why what you're playing works. Nobody cares. Man, the 45-year-old attorney who comes home from a long day at work wants to pick up his guitar and just play an Eagles song. It doesn't matter. The scales and the theory are for this guy here, up here. Coming home from a long day of work and escaping the grind is for this part right here. Okay? That's all heart. That's all escape. That makes you feel like you're 16 again. Who cares about why? Yes, that's important, but not when you need something out of the guitar that is going to be on the more emotional, more musical side. Yes, it's important to learn theory, but it's not a necessity. I'll say that. I know a lot of theory. I've known a ton of theory. I've written a lot of songs. A lot of them have done very well. Did I use theory for them? I don't know. But I know that when I first started playing guitar and learning and writing my own songs, I didn't even know theory then. And I did pretty well at that point too. So let's keep going. Let's finish this off here. How long we go? It's a little bit longer episode here. All right. Thanks for watching, by the way. If this is at all entertaining, please let me know in the comments. Ask any questions. Continue the conversation. I'm happy to talk about this all day. Where am I? Okay. But I disagree with the practicing less and not at least learning basic theory. I didn't say don't learn it, man. I said don't learn it now until you learn 10 to 20 songs. Build up your song list first. And then it's still optional to learn basic theory. Maybe he means something different by theory, etc. To understand at least why what you're playing works and why certain scales / modes, don't get into modes now. It's not, modes are too complicated for right now. Work well in certain keys, then why others don't. That's a recipe for quitting, bud. That's a recipe for quitting guitar. I didn't even get into that until maybe 3 or 4 years in, and I was a teenager. Fuck. I had so much time on my hands. Most people who come through my world are at least over 35 years old. They're my age or older. Our lives can't support that. When you're first starting out, you need to play songs. If you're stuck in a rut, you need to be playing songs. If you're in a theory class and you have an empty song list, you need to be playing songs. Drop the theory, drop the scales, drop the exercises. Play songs. Um, your practice sessions should incorporate some fun exercises. No, exercises aren't fun. But not all guitar techniques are particularly fun to learn at first. Songs are, because you don't have the dexterity and strength you need yet. The songs will show you everything you need. Bends, in particular, I hated practicing at first. Replace them with slides or hammer-ons, or don't play them at all. Because bends, in particular, I hated practicing first because they hurt my fingers and I couldn't get them to sound right. That's very common. This guy means well. He means well. Practice and knowing some theory along with scales modes opens up your playing immensely to new ideas. Now he's just like saying random stuff. Now he's just saying stuff. I tend to use Rocksmith on PS4 to learn new songs. That might be the smartest thing that he said. Rocksmith is great. It's fun. It works at certain levels. It's very similar to what I show you inside my book. PlayMoreSongs.com. Book's called Practice Less, Play More. I tend to use Rocksmith on PS4 to learn new songs because I love guitar and gaming, so Rocksmith is a dream come true. LOL. This guy's a good guy. Look, I'm not going to knock this guy as a person. What he's saying in my real estate, I know that this showed up on his news feed and blah, 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 blah. We don't own that either. But I paid for this ad and I own this ad, and he's showing up on my investment, on my real estate, and he's just saying a bunch of stuff. I know he's a good guy. I could tell. He means well. Michael means well. Everything else I've learned theory-wise is from taking it upon myself to seek out the information. What's he trying to prove? Do you want me to like say like, hey, good job, man, best, like pat on the back, like you did a good job, here's your trophy? What are we doing here? What is this? As I want to understand why that note or sequence of notes I just played sounded like shit to that backing track. Yeah, I mean, that is helpful for sure. If you want to start off with playing solos at first, even then you'll want to play solos from the masters that you love. Even basic ones, okay? Or you can make it basic. And if you don't know how to do that, reach out to me. I want to know how to improvise over anything. Okay, cool. Also, I wonder how old this guy is. Also, my main aim was never to learn songs. Oh, wow. Okay, well, now I can tell why you're on this ad. Now I can tell why we're having this conversation. Thanks for telling me that now. It was to create my own. Okay, cool. That actually was mine too. And still is. Okay. So I tend to incorporate learning songs as practice and chose a song. I just want to interject for a second. He could have just come out right at the beginning and like, hey man, my name is Michael Meanswell, and like your book, I'm sure it's pretty cool. What I find, because what I want to do is I actually want to learn songs so that I could write my own songs. And I'd be like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's actually how I started playing. And then we could have like bonded over that. But instead, there's just a bunch of BS that gets tossed in here. But it's disguised as like, I don't know, not attacking me or not attacking the sort of the theory behind, I hate to use that word, but like the philosophy behind practicing less and playing more. Because he means well, but this is still trolling. So anyway, also my main aim was never to learn songs. It was to create my own, and still is. I tend to incorporate learning songs as practice and choose a song that has elements a bit above my playing level. That's great. That's very smart. Most strategic thing he said. Then work on it until I could play with no mistakes. He is not wrong here. What he missed and what he just so obliviously is doing here, like, he did not read my book. So what he would have seen if he wants this goal, then he would see that with my strategies inside my book here. That's going to help him get there faster. But because he's never going to check out my book, he's not going to know. And so that's one more person who's taking way longer to do what they want to do. And I can help them. And this book is here for less than the cost of lunch. And yet, because of his hard head, he won't ever know that. It's so unfortunate. That's a tragedy, man. That's a tragedy. All right. So I just can't fight with that. So I say, Mike, cool. Best of luck. And that, my friends, is it. What a tragedy. Michael Meanswell, when less means no, practice less, play more. I didn't know that practicing less meant no practice. Oh man, that is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. In some ways, it's energizing. In other ways, it's exhausting. I mean, what I do here every day is I make sure that people are happy. All right? I make sure that people are happy, understanding a strategic approach. whether it's with guitar, whether it's my family, want to achieve anything, anybody talks to me about anything and I help them strategically. All the principles you'll learn in the book. One guy read this book and he lost like 20 pounds just with similar strategies, or with the same strategies for other things. So I know this stuff works. It's just ridiculous to me when people are so hard-headed about something that doesn't, like, you'll see, by the way, in the next episode, unless there's a new Richard Cranium that comes along, unless there's a new Richard Cranium that comes along, I've got a spicy meatball coming up in the next episode. Oh my God, this guy's so ridiculous. Today, Michael means well. He means well. Remember, he's not a bad person. Okay, he's not a bad person. He's not a Richard Cranium. He's one of Richard Cranium's buddies, but he's not a Richard Cranium. He just doesn't quite get it. I don't know if it's this guy's like super young. Maybe he just, I don't know. I don't want to comment on him because I'm just commenting on what he says on my post. Okay, I'm paying for this post. I pay every single time someone clicks it, every single time someone checks it out, whether they love it, whether they hate it, whether they're going to buy, whether they're not going to buy. And he's on my turf. And so, of course, I'm going to not defend myself. I'm going to defend you. I'm going to defend you when I see posts like this, because you need to know the truth about practicing and make your own choice. By the way, you could agree with what I'm saying and still not buy the book. I'm still happy about that, as long as you don't suffer practicing and not getting the result. Like, I don't even care, like, suffer's a bit dramatic. Like, you're playing guitar, guys. Like, it's 6 strings on a piece of wood. Like, play some songs. I mean, it's not that important in the grand scheme of things. Now, it makes you happy, sure. The happiness, that's what's important to me. However you get that, whatever vehicle gets you the happiness, there's a more efficient way to get that happiness. So that's what I do. That's my specialty. Right now we're talking about guitar. We could be talking about anything. Okay? So that's the end of today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed that. We've got some great stuff coming up. If ever I see even a hint of a Richard Cranium or a troll in general, I'm going to just engage a little bit, and then often we get some gold, and it's all for your benefit. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm excited for the next episode, and we'll see you in the next one.